Struggling with type 2 diabetes, the constant thirst, fatigue, and fear of long-term meds? One of my clients came to me with it, and within weeks of shifting their food choices, their blood sugar started stabilizing without piling on more meds. You can reverse the root cause as well. In this video, I'm showing you 4 simple steps to lower type 2 diabetes naturally. So obviously when it comes to type 2 diabetes, the sugar in our blood is blocked from all of this fat in our blood, okay? So the sugar can't really enter our cells and our body can't use this sugar as energy, which is why we feel fatigued, right? So to be able to kind of break up that fat and allow this sugar to enter our cells and out of the blood, the first step is we want to be adding in more hydrating foods, okay? Things like celery sticks, cucumber slices, red bell pepper slices, lettuce, green leafy salads, right? These fresh living foods have natural water content in them that allow this fat to kind of break up, right? So now that the sugar can enter our cells, okay? So that's the first step. Just try to snack on more cucumber slices, even if you got to eat it with like a little bit of hummus or some guacamole, or I highly recommend you look up raw vegan sauces and dips because these are all natural. They have water content in them because any food that's in their natural form that we can eat without cooking or processing in any way has natural water content in them. So we want to focus on these water-rich foods because again, this is going to allow that sugar to move more smoothly out of our blood, okay, and kind of break up that traffic jam in our blood so we can utilize the energy from these naturally sugar foods, okay? So that is step 1, is to start adding in more hydrating foods. And even when you do have cooked foods, this is going to help a lot. Start pairing your cooked foods with these cucumber slices, with these celery sticks or red bell pepper slices, or even just some lettuce, okay? Because this is going to keep you hydrated. Notice how when you eat cooked food, you always feel the need to drink water with or right after. This is because that cooked food is pulling the hydration out of your body, leaving you dehydrated, okay? And we're water-based beings, so we want to keep that fluidity flowing through our body and our blood and our cells regularly, okay? So that no traffic jam pops up, right? There's no way for a traffic jam to even start because we're so hydrated on a cellular level, right? A lot of us are drinking this, filtered water and spring water, but this is just hydrating us on a surface level and not really hydrating us on a structured cellular level like these water-rich foods that come from nature are, okay? So step 1, start adding in these hydrating living foods. You're a living, hydrating being, so your diet should be a reflection of who you are. And if you guys want the full plan of how I helped my client eliminate type 2 diabetes within just a couple of weeks, you guys can download that down below. It's called the Blood Sugar Mastery Plan. Completely free. Grab it using the link in the description. Now, the second step to reversing type 2 diabetes naturally is we want to pay attention to how we're combining our foods, specifically fats and sugars, okay? Because fats and sugars create fermentation in the gut, so that's a clear sign that those are not supposed to be mixed, okay? When we are eating sugars, we just want to be eating sugars with sugars, okay? Nothing else. We don't want to be mixing sugar with fat or sweet sugar with our cooked foods, okay? Sugar is best digested and moves the most smoothest by itself, okay? You think about eating a mango or a plum. These are juicy, light fruits, sources of sugar, right? Your body doesn't have to use a lot of digestive energy to break them down. So you eat it, takes 5 to 10 minutes, and it's fully broken down, and your body can utilize that energy that sugar as energy immediately. Okay, now when you add, say you have some fats, right? Some avocados or some raw nuts and seeds. These are the most preferred sources of fats if you are going to eat fats. And we'll get more into that later in this video. Say if you have an avocado or some nuts and seeds, those take 3, 4, 5 hours to fully break down, right? Not a lot of water content in these fats, lots of digestive energy to break down this density. So you want to give your body 3 or 4 hours to break down those fats before you add in some sugars, okay? And sugars can mean carbs as well, potatoes, rice, all these things break down into sugars. So it's really not ideal to be having avocado and rice, okay? Because that rice is a sugar, avocado is a fat, okay? So we really just want to be prioritizing eating one food at a time. So if we're going to have fats, just have the fats. You can have it with non-sweet fruits like the cucumber slices, the lettuce, the red bell pepper slices, the celery, right? Those aren't really sugary. They're non-sweet fruits, they're hydrating, so they're gonna help your body break down those very dry, dense nuts and avocados, okay? But you just wanna prioritize not having sugar and fats at the same time, okay? And if you think about it, a French fry, right? A French fry is a potato, okay? A potato breaks down into carbs, and carbs break down into sugar for energy, okay? So you got the sugar, and then this is deep fried in this 100% fatty oil. So right there, that's a deadly combination. You got the sugar and the fat in one French fry, okay? And look at all of us Americans, how much we're eating French fries. They're sold everywhere. So it's, no wonder 35 million, 40 million Americans have diabetes. We're all eating French fries, okay? We're all mixing these fats and sugars, okay? And this fast digesting, flowing sugar is getting blocked up by this traffic jam of the fat. So now it's got to just sit there and it's spiking your blood sugar levels, okay? So that is number 2, is prioritize having your sweet fruits on an empty stomach, your sugars on an empty stomach. Have your sugars before you have your fats, okay? You don't want to have the fat. It takes 3 or 4 hours to digest, and then you're having sugar right after. Have your sugar, takes 5 to 20 minutes to digest, then you have your fats, ideally an hour after, just to be safe, okay? Sugar's on an empty stomach, then you have your cooked food, then you have your fats, okay? And ideally have your fats in the middle of the day while your digestion is at its peak, strongest, when the sun is at its highest, so your body can break that down and doesn't have to break that down at night, leaving you with poor sleep quality. The third step to lower type 2 diabetes naturally is to obviously just cut back on your fat intake in general, okay? And a lot of us may not recognize the foods that we're having every day are very fatty. Things like, meats, right? All animal products are very fatty, okay? Dairy, cheese, milk, yogurt, all of these things are highly processed, highly fatty, okay? And there's no human has a cheese deficiency, okay? No human has a milk or a yogurt deficiency. No human has a meat deficiency, okay? I haven't eaten meat in almost 6 years now, okay? So start eliminating these fatty foods, mostly animal products, fried foods, okay, oils, even avocado oil and olive oil, okay? All of these things are sources of fats that we just don't need, okay? No human is deficient in oils or fried food either. So we really want to prioritize staying away from these fatty foods and start replacing them with just more carbs, right? A lot of us think that sugar is the reason that we have diabetes, but like I said, it's really that mixture of the fat and the sugar, okay? So start replacing those fat sources with carbs, okay? And just eat the carbs with carbs. Don't cook your rice, don't fry your rice in these fatty oils. Again, that's the carbs breaking down in the sugar, the rice, and then the oils, 100% fat. So stay away from that, okay? Start replacing those fatty meals, the yogurt, the milk, the meat, with carbs, beans, lentils, rice, quinoa, okay? And even better, steamed vegetables, okay? Forget the grains. No one's grain deficient either, but it's way better than those fatty animal products, okay? So prioritize steamed oil-free vegetables, okay? And sweet potatoes and roots, squash, pumpkin, okay, asparagus, green peas, green beans, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, all these things. And I highly recommend you guys buy a bottle of something called coconut aminos. You can find this in your soy sauce section of your grocery store. Super good. It'll make even raw broccoli just taste like a 5-star dish. It's just coconut blossom nectar and sea salt. Super good to put on everything. It makes vegetables taste amazing. Makes plain rice and plain quinoa taste amazing, okay? So that's number 3, is to just simply cut back on these fried foods, the animal products, and the oils, okay? And if you're a big restaurant eater, you gotta stay away from these restaurants, because pretty much every restaurant, even local salad bars, have these oils, especially these inflammatory seed oils, the soybean oil, the canola oil, the sunflower oil, the safflower oil. All of these are in dressings, in sauces, ketchup, the honey mustard, the ranches, the blue cheese, the Caesar dressings, the Thousand Island dressing. All of these dressings in the grocery store, the sauces in the grocery store, the restaurants, all of these contain oils. America profits off of these inflammatory oils, okay? Going back to the fact that we are water-based beings, right? We both know that oil and water do not mix, okay? So oil is the complete opposite of who we are, right? We're hydrated beings. Oil is completely dehydrated, all right? And our stomach has to use a lot of digestive energy to break down that oil, and that oil just gets blocked up in our blood and prevents that sugar from entering our cells, right? So if we are going to have that fat, just make sure we're having it just by itself, not with any carbs, just with fats, and ideally just away from all sugars, okay? We want to let that sugar digest first, bring that sugar in, bring those fruits in, let it really enter our cells while nothing else is in our body. Then we wait a little bit, then we can have the fats by itself with no carbs, okay? And the 4th step to lowering type 2 diabetes naturally is just to move your body, okay? Even just a 20-minute light walk after your biggest meal of the day is going to help, move that sugar within your blood smoothly. It helps your insulin think of your insulin as a key, right? And the lock for the key to open up the cells to let the sugar in is all gummed up, right? And that is gummed up from those fried foods and the fatty oils and the animal products, okay? But when you walk after your meal, especially after you've properly combined your meal, when you walk after that meal, you kind of allow that fat to kind of break up, right? We're mobile beings. We love to move. We got to move, right? To assist our body in breaking down the stagnancy within our blood and our cells, okay? So like I said, even just a 20-minute walk after your meals will make a huge difference. And just getting some more kind of cardio in and jumping around and things like that in your free time is really going to help break up stagnancy, break up that fat matter, blocking your sugar, the sugar from entering your cells, okay? So quick recap, we want to be prioritizing hydrating living foods. These are going to, again, break up that fat, break up that traffic jam, and allow the sugar within our blood to actually enter our cells so our body can use it for energy. And so we don't feel this fatigue anymore. We actually have natural energy from the natural sugar we're eating, okay? And the second step is to start paying attention to how you're combining your foods. Prioritize removing fats and sugars, okay? Keep those separate. If you're gonna pay attention to anything with food combinations, prioritize keeping the sugar and fat away from each other. Fats take a couple hours to digest, so we really wanna make sure we're not having any sugars within that 3 to 4 hour window after we just had an avocado or after we just had some raw nuts or seeds. And to just eat the sugar on an empty stomach, right? That sugar is immediately digested, immediately used as energy when we put it in, and we want to make sure we have nothing else in our blood, and we just have that sugar just riding smoothly into our cells, nothing blocking it up. And the third step is just to simply cut back on these fat sources, okay? The fried foods, the animal products, especially the oils, right? If you think about it, a spoonful of even just some olive oil is like you in nature eating 35 to 40 olives in one bite, okay? Our digestive system, our blood, our cells, our whole body is not designed to, break down this big overload concentrate of fat. These olives come in a whole form, right, with fiber. Okay, so they're a little bit easier for our body to kind of process them. But when you take these olives and you concentrate them and you oxidize them with heat, you're creating toxins, right? You're creating this big concentrated overload of fat that our body was just not designed to recognize, right? There's nothing in nature that has this concentrated, amount of fat in it for our bodies to break down, okay? So our bodies were not designed to recognize that load of fat, let alone break it down, okay? So this creates stagnancy within our blood. And the fourth step is just to simply move more, okay? Do a light walk after your meals, okay? And this puts that sugar to use, right? If you have sugar, blocked up in your blood, sugar is meant for fuel. Sugar is our energy source, or one of our biggest energy sources is sugar. So we want to be moving throughout the day, going on long walks, even a light walk after your biggest meal. Like I said, this is going to put the sugar to use and not, remain stagnant, okay? So I hope this video has brought you massive value and inspiration to start taking action on these 4 steps today or tomorrow, ideally, so that you can start seeing results immediately. Like I said, you guys can download my free guide on how I helped my client permanently reverse his type 2 diabetes. It's called the Blood Sugar Mastery Plan. You can grab that using the link in the description. So that is it for today, everyone. Much love, happy healing. Cheers.